Good evening, everyone. I'm your technical critic, and today is Sunday, the 12th of January, which means the final episode of Sherlock. Now, some of you who saw my other video are probably wondering, well, technical critic, why didn't you review the second episode last week? Well, the reason is because the first one came out January 2nd, the second one came out January 5th, and really and truly there was... I figured, you know what, I might as well review the entire season instead of review 1, 2, 3, and then that's it. Because the season is literally 2 weeks long. That's it. The season was, it was 10 days long. It was a 10-day season. And, oh my god, what an awesome 10 days. Where do I begin? Where do I end? I could gush on about this for hours on end. But I'm going to try and keep this short. There will be a ton of hella spoilers. So, let's begin. Episode 2. It was okay. It wasn't... how do I put this? It had... What? It was a good setup episode. I have to say that. It was a very good setup episode. I honestly thought that it was going to become kind of like a two-parter thing where he deals with Charles Augustus Milverton kind of the same way that he dealt with Moriarty. But instead what we got was him at Watson's wedding and oh, the hijinks that ensued. Let's see. We got the case of the invisible knife and the case of the no, I guess you could call it the case of the ghost. Anyways, but and they made reference to so many others. It was very good. You got a lot of Sherlock deductions in a very short time. It was very well done. You got to see a lot of the chemistry between Watson and Sherlock, how he actually feels, how he cares for them, etc., etc. You learn that Mary is pregnant. So that was a thing that they dropped on us at the end. That's what the sign of 3 meant. 1, 2, 3. So overall, a pretty good episode. Cumberbatch again. He nails it as Sherlock. And the third episode, which I just watched, oh, all the feelings. I laughed, I cried, I almost died. The fake out at the end, you're like, I know they're going to make a 4th season. Please don't send him off to Chernobyl to die. Why? Okay, so, but that's the end. Let me start at the beginning. I have to say this before I do. If the season is going to be this short, a lot of people complained, oh, here's the thing, a lot of people complained this year that, oh, you're releasing the episodes too close together, you should space that out. The year before that, they're like, oh, you're releasing it every 2 weeks, it's too far apart, bring them closer together, make more. And I honestly feel, listen, if the Vampire Diaries can hammer out an hour every week, surely we can get a 5-episode season. Can we get 5 episodes for season 4? I'm only asking for 2 more episodes. I know they're an hour and a half long, so technically it's 9 episodes. I'm only asking for 3 more episodes to make it a nice even 12. Please make it a nice even 12. And if you're going to release them all on the same day so that people can pace themselves. They'd be like, okay, you know, and they can decide for themselves whether or not they're going to marathon through it all 4.5 hours, or if you're me, you're going to try and... I'm not going to try and space it out, but me would try and space it out between the things they do. They're like, oh, I'm going to watch this episode today, I might watch that episode tomorrow, I'll watch that episode later, blah, 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 blah. But, episode 3, they renamed Milverton to Magnuson. I don't know why they made him a foreigner. I guess it was to make him more menacing. Honestly, I didn't care if he was British or if he was foreign. It didn't matter. There were lots of little There are lots of little nice touches in the background. Like, for example, Okay, so it takes place 1 month after John's wedding. Apparently, one of their neighbors has a son who's in a heroin. Oh my god!
Sorry, you still doing that nonsense?
Sorry for that interruption. I promise you it will not happen again. So where was I? Oh yes, John. John has a neighbor whose son is a heroin junkie, so he goes to get him, and lo and behold, Sherlock is in the same heroin house. Da da da. It's the same plot from The Man with the Twisted Lip. So yeah. So they do that. Everybody's mad at Sherlock, and we find out he has a girlfriend. He's sleeping with the bridesmaid, and I'm like, yes, 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 yes. I got over it a lot faster than everybody else did. John had the look on his face that I assume every other hardcore Sherlock fan had. While he was talking, you could tell he heard absolutely nothing of what Sherlock said about Magnuson, about trying to take down the case, any of that. It was just you're sleeping with a woman. Oh my god. I'm like, yes, okay, whatever. But I felt I'm sure some people felt the scene went on a little too long. I just kept laughing at it the whole time. I felt it was hysterical. And basically Magnuson shows up, he pisses in their fireplace. They go to try to get these letters back from this woman that he licked. It turns out I don't want to spoil it, but Sherlock gets shot. He ends up in hospital. People get betrayed. Eventually, he gets to Magnuson's house, and the secret is Magnus stores all the information in his brain. I honestly thought the way they did Magnus's ability to look up people's information, I honestly thought that his glasses were transmitting something. They fooled me, and I'm sure they fooled everybody else. And when Sherlock took off the glasses from him and looked at them, he's like, "Oh, they're ordinary spectacles," and you could still see it flicking over his eyes. I'm like, oh, does he have bionic eyes? Is he part robot? How does that work? Is it implanted in his brain? Is it like stuff in his bone cheeks that feeds into his eyes so that he can see? And then it turns out same thing as our friend Sherlock. He uses a mind palace to store all this information, and then he keeps it, and he keeps all of his blackmailables in other places. So basically he just calls up whoever he needs, and he's like, "Hey, I need this here so that I can do this." There's this very great line, he's a newspaperman, he doesn't need proof, he just needs to print it. And it just so happens to be true. So I'm pretty sure you could guess what happens next. Sherlock's like, okay, there's no actual vault. No. Okay. Bang. That's the end. That's the end of Milverton or Magnuson. It's the exact same ending from the story. But the journey, how we get there, very, very good. Lots of little hints in the background. When Watson is going to go pick up the kid, there's this billboard that says, that basically says, "Knowledge is power," all scattered throughout. It's very highbrow but very lowbrow at the same time. There's literally nothing you could nitpick about this episode. Wait, that's not true. I did think the dying sequence with Sherlock in his mind palace might have been a little bit overplayed. It was a little bit too dramatic. It's almost... It almost took me out of it. I was still interested to watch. I like the fact that that he has Moriarty chained up in his mind there. I guess that's his criminal side. The ending. Ah, yes, the ending. So Sherlock's about to be sent off to Siberia for murdering Magnuson, who is very important to Mycroft. And basically Professor James Moriarty's face shows up everywhere over London. So they immediately turn the plane around and call him back. And, well, Here's what I'm guessing. I'm guessing that Sherlock has a friend somewhere, and that friend just so happens to have this particular recording, you know, just in case Sherlock ends up getting sent off to Siberia. He can link it into the network, and Sherlock fakes his own case so that he doesn't have to travel to Siberia. I feel for the man. I really do. I wouldn't want to have to travel to Siberia either. I honestly thought they were ending the series. I was like, no. I wish I could have shown you my reaction. Unfortunately, I did not film it because this thing does not have an hour and a half in it. I'd have to do it in parts. And if you watch my cores, you know that's never good. It's never good. So my review for the entire season. First episode, awesome. Gave us everything we wanted from Sherlock. Second episode, not as awesome, but still pretty good. Third episode, season finale. Oh, such sweet season finale. So good. So good. Oh. Yeah, that's it. That's all I have to say. Watch Sherlock. Subscribe to this channel. Do all that stuff. I will see you next year with Sherlock. I'm sure. Benedict Cumberbatch, keep milking that chicken. You have nailed this part too. That you really nailed it. It is a pleasure to watch you play Sherlock. If you watch the, I'm gushing. I promise this would only be a 5-minute critique. I'm pretty sure we're into like 20 minutes now. I'll see you guys later.